So, a few weeks ago, CBC aired a documentary which blew up my phone. I was in appointments and I kept getting bombarded with phone calls and messages, and slowly I began to find out that it was regarding mortgage fraud. And
Oh,
this is one of those topics where a lot of people don't want to talk about it. I think it needs to be addressed. Amir, the founder, the owner of Six Mortgage Group, was kind enough to kind of come on with us just so we can pick his head about this and get you more clarity, but more importantly, help you stay out of this because you don't want to get caught up in this at all. So, Omer, first off, thank you for joining us.
no, thanks for having me, Mos. And the topic that we picked today, or you picked today to talk about, is pretty crazy. It's no secret to anybody in real estate, right? Like, we know this has been happening for quite some time. Mainstream media has now picked it up, which is fantastic. I'm glad that mainstream media has picked it up. I wish they would have made a 10-part docuseries on this and not just a half an hour show. But I really truly hope that this documentary brings the regulators together, where it's RICO and FSRA and everybody, right? They're just like, okay, yeah, we need to do something here. This is a problem. So, but yes, unfortunately, fraud is a part of pretty much any industry that you look at. It's terrible that it is, but it is, right? Like, there's fraud in taxation, right? When people are doing taxes, a lot of people do commit fraud doing that. There's a lot of fraud that happens in politics, in municipal dealings, in anything, right? So does it happen in the mortgage field? Yeah, we all know it does. Real estate and mortgages, yes, fraud happens. But the funny thing is, I was looking at the data from Equifax, which was recently sent out, and Equifax said that the Canadian mortgage fraud rate actually went down 13% in 2022 compared to 2021. So it looks like fraud is going down. Obviously, it's not nil or it's not gone yet, but it is going down. So that's a good thing.
So tell me this, Betty. Let's work backwards, right?
Okay.
For one, when we saw that video, I'm thinking from the buyer's perspective. A lot of first-time home buyers, more specifically, they rely on guidance and they blindly trust a realtor and they blindly trust a mortgage broker, right? The best thing a mortgage broker could tell a young family is, guys, I got you for the mortgage. Just leave it in my hands. I'll take care of it. And that's it, right? So as a consumer, you're getting your first property, you're getting mortgage. What are the signs of mortgage fraud that they can look out for, especially when they're so hands off the actual process?
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. A lot of times in our industry, you'll see that a mortgage professional or real estate professional will handhold you throughout the process. And I mean, most of the times that's not a bad thing, because you're going into uncharted territories. There's a lot to look at when you're applying for a mortgage and dealing with a bank, in terms of documentation, in terms of mitigating concerns, making sure that your application is properly processed and highlighted and structured, right? So I get that. However, there's a couple of easy red flags that you have to be careful with, right? So the first and foremost is your mortgage broker sitting down and discussing with you if this property makes financial sense to you? So when I say that is, I mean, are they talking about budgeting? Are they talking about, hey, you're buying this home, this is how much it's going to cost. Are you okay with making these payments? Number one, can you handle them, right? Can you handle your lifestyle as it stands today, along with your existing debt load when you get this house? Do you know about the maintenance costs associated with this? Do you know about the property taxes? Will this fit your budget? If a mortgage broker is not having this conversation with you, then A, something is wrong, or B, they're missing a key piece of information. The second portion is, and you have to be very cognizant about this as a purchaser, a buyer, as a client, whatever application your mortgage broker is doing, by law, they actually have to give you a copy of that mortgage application along with a disclosure, and you're supposed to sign it. So has the mortgage broker given you that application? Have you seen what's been submitted on that application? Because if you work for Rogers and you make $150,000 and you get an application back that says you work for, you know, XYZ making 350,000, I mean, something has gone wrong here, right? And that's what a lot of these clients were talking about on that CBC documentary as well. I think it was one couple who said that they got a call from Scotiabank, and the profiles at Scotiabank were completely different than who these people were. It was like they were using their name and that's about it, right? So you have to be very cognizant as to what is being submitted in your name. Make sure you look at the application and all of that. And the last one, which is very important, if a mortgage broker or really anybody involved in a real estate transaction is coming to you and telling you that they'll be charging you a cash fee upfront to get something done, then that is pretty much fraud.
Yeah.
Don't do it.
This is really good. I can see someone intentionally doing it, and you know, whatever is in their mind is in their mind. I'm more so concerned about the families that have no idea what's going on. And a lot of times when I represent buyers, they have their own mortgage advisor they want to work with, right? It's very normal. I'm never going to push them to work with an advisor of mine. And then I'll begin to hear things where they'll say, like, my mortgage broker said, you know, this is the cost, it's paid in this form of payment, and it's a guaranteed finance. Right. And these guys just didn't know any better because they want to believe that. So now, let's talk about mortgage fraud itself. For one, how does someone get away with it when that type of crucial information is being altered? And when they get caught, what happens then?
Okay. And this is, I guess, the $1 million question, right? So what you have to understand is, Mo, and really, if you're watching this video, you have to understand this, right? If you are a mortgage broker or, you know, anybody involved in the mortgage transaction at the bank, anywhere, who is putting through a fraudulent application, right? A lot of these applications do get caught. Some of them don't get caught, obviously, but that's just like, you know, someone breaking the law, right? Like if I start running red lights in my car, you know, the police is not necessarily catching everybody breaking the red light, right? But they will catch some of them. They should catch all of them, but they will catch some of them. But what is happening since then, right? So as you know, you know, you're a realtor, Mo, you're in Scarborough, Toronto all the time. You've noticed how many red light cameras they've now installed, right? And those red light cameras are catching everyone, right? Because it's tech, it's technology, right? So this is now what the banks are starting to adopt. They're moving towards these algorithms and these new technologies that are starting to catch these applications, these fraudulent applications. So yes, some of these applications do go through the system, you know, great, you know, you pulled one on them, fantastic. But guess what? That can turn around very quickly. So a lot of these applications that do get caught, they get reported. You will, as a client, get blacklisted. The broker himself will get reported to FSRA, which is the organization that regulates mortgage brokers, right? And they will lose their license. They will not be able to operate as a mortgage brokerage anymore in Canada. And as a client, if you get caught, you will get demarketed from the bank. So the bank will basically tell you that, yeah, please, you know, you have to take your mortgage away either at renewal or sometimes even before that. They have the power to tell you that, yeah, you have 30 days, pay this mortgage out, or we could go to power of sale proceedings. Now, what's interesting is that the banks, like I said, you know, technology is huge here. So banks have now started using REDX, which is a real estate data exchange. And in REDX, they actually report any fraudulent real estate or mortgage professional, and it will go on their record. So when a fraudulent, if someone has, you know, turned in fraudulent applications, the bank can see that on their history, and they can, right off the bat, when you submit an application, they will cancel your file. So it's very important, you know, as a mortgage broker, if you're doing anything funny, be careful. stop doing this because you will end up on the red X. And when you do, your career is over. And as a client, don't do this, because if you get caught, that's it. You will go in a database and the bank will demarket you. And then you will not be able to get a mortgage at a financial institution again. It will become very difficult for you. You will then be, going to, Schedule B or private lenders for your financing. And you don't want to be in that position. Now, the craziest one is this, and this one I've heard. What if I've already gotten a mortgage through fraudulent means? Now I've got this mortgage, the bank doesn't know that this was fraudulent, I got away with it, and I have my house for the next 30 years, everything is gonna be okay. Well, no, because what happens is the person who did your fraudulent application, the mortgage broker or the bank or whoever did your mortgage application that was fraudulent, chances are they're dirty. And if they're dirty, they're doing other fraudulent mortgage applications. And the minute one of their mortgage application gets caught, because it's only time, they will get caught. Once it gets caught, then you know what the bank does? They open up all their previous files, and then they do data discovery. They do auditing. They look at everything that was submitted. And that's when your file can possibly come out. And that's when you get the notice saying, hey, Mr. Client, you are now being demarketed from Bank X, and we will be demanding this mortgage be paid out at the time of renewal or even before that, and we will not be renewing you anymore. So in Canada, Mo, every federal regulated bank or lender, that includes the B lenders and the banks, they are compelled, they have to renew a mortgage as long as mortgage payments have been made in according to the contract. A lot of people actually had this question when property values started to decline a little bit, right? People were getting worried that, wait a minute, I bought a house for $1 million, value has now gone to like 900. Will the bank say they're not going to renew me, or would that be an issue? No, it's never an issue, because if you took a mortgage from a federally regulated bank, they have to renew your mortgage unless you have been in breach of contract with the bank. And you know what the number one cause of breach of contract is with the bank, Mo? Take a guess.
Is it fraud, buddy?
It's fraud, exactly. So if you've done or committed any sort of fraud on your mortgage application that the bank has caught, you are now in breach of bank's contract, and they can cancel the renewal process on your mortgage. So it is imperative that you're very careful. You don't get suckered into these fraudulent activities. And as technology grows, things get better for the banks. This is going to get harder and harder for the fraudulent people to get away with, because now a lot of lenders, they're talking about these new softwares that literally scan the documents, like an OCR, which scans the documents and is able to tell the legitimacy of these documents. Right? Then obviously banks have been in contact with the CRA for the longest time, trying to figure something out where the CRA will indeed confirm taxation documents for a client, right? That would be the Hail Mary, obviously. If CRA figures that out with the bank, that would pretty much take away 99% of the fraud that happens. But that's not so simple, and it's not very cost effective. But yeah, if this becomes a bigger problem, then we could possibly see things like that happening as well.
Wow, that's a lot. A lot of this I didn't know was happening. As you're talking to me, I'm thinking worst case scenarios, and I'm thinking, imagine one of my clients, family, they just bought a house and they get a notice. They weren't aware of how the mortgage was done, and now they have to pay it off. There's no equity. How do they pay it off? Where do they take their kids? This is very genuine to me, and I think every purchaser now has to make a cautious effort to voice their concern regarding this matter, rather than blindly trusting whomever is guaranteeing finance. Finance is complicated, and it's pretty much in accordance to your credit income, right? And it has to make sense. It always has to make sense. And if it's not making sense, then that's a conversation to have, right? So Umair, I appreciate this, buddy. This is a lot. I'm going to end this here for now. Maybe we'll have to do a part 2, but I'm going to put all your information at the bottom. If anyone has any questions regarding mortgages, pre-approval, refinances, anything mortgage related, can they reach out to you?
They can absolutely reach out to me, but remember, be careful and keep it clean.
But if they're reaching out to you, it's
We'll talk
100%.
soon.
It's 100% going to be clean if they're reaching out to you. But yeah, I'll talk to you soon. Take care, buddy.
Take care, Mo. Bye-bye.